Guided Messages Tarot channel. This is your favorite tarot reader, Melanite Empress. How are you all doing on this lovely Monday evening? Today, as you can see on the replay, we are going to give Nipsey Hustle a chance to give us some last messages or some messages perhaps he never talked about, or to reaffirm what people were saying in regards to his life, in regards to his unaliving, and in regards to any situation that he is going to be sharing on today. I had channeled a message from him probably like 2 to 3 weeks ago, right? Yes, and it's so funny. He came to me and he was like, "I would like to, give a message through you." And I was like, "What? Through me? Okay, what do you need to say?" And I was like, on it, I sat down and I opened a notebook and stuff and started, writing things down and asking questions and stuff and getting some confirmations in regards to what he was saying. So finally, at an odd time, 12:45 a.m. in the morning time, I had just finished a live reading on my TikTok. I was like, am I up to this tonight? Because I am all of a sudden getting nervous and stuff. But, I'm definitely going to be reading from the channel messages I had written down, and then, perhaps asking some more questions. This perhaps will be like a part one, because it is late, and, I know there's a lot to cover because I did ask him a lot of questions. But anyway, I'm going to give him an introduction and just read off of, exactly, who he is. And how he became to, create this legacy. So Nipsey Hustle, his real name is Ermias Joseph Asghedom. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He was like, yeah, that's okay. He said, yeah, I did okay. He was born in 1985 and was unalive in 2019. He was a critically acclaimed Grammy-nominated American rapper, entrepreneur, and community activist from Crenshaw, South Los Angeles. He was known for his independent marathon approach to music, including the album Victory Lap. He was also a dedicated developer who invested in local real estate and business, such as the Marathon Clothing. Key details about Nipsey Hustle. His real name and background, once again, is Ermias Joseph Asghedom. On August the 15th, 1985, to an Eritrean father and an American mother, he grew up in the Crenshaw neighborhood of South Los Angeles. His career, he built a reputation through mixtapes like Bullets, Ain't Got No Name, and Crenshaw. His debut studio album, Victory Lap, in 2018 received a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Album. He was an entrepreneur. Hussle was known for owning multiple businesses, including the Marathon Clothing store on Crenshaw and Slauson and the Marathon Collective. He was actively involved in rebuilding his community and was a real estate investor. How he was unalive: he was shot and unalived on March the 31st, 2019, outside the store in South Los Angeles at age 33. Very interesting, right? He won 2 Grammy Awards in 2022. That was post his unaliving, for Best Rap Performance and Best Rap Song Performance. Isn't that interesting? So his philosophy was, he was heavily focused on self-empowerment and ownership, often emphasizing that the marathon is about longevity and resilience in both business and life. He left behind a long-term relationship with actress Lauren London and had 2 children. So that's just an introduction and a little bit about him. And the day that I channeled some of his messages and was asking questions, I think, again, he was like telling me that it was like 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I was like, okay, so what do you want to say? So first and foremost, he wanted to give a shout out to his day ones, A1s, in regards to his fans, he loved you all so much. He said that his death wasn't in vain. It was for the purpose to get all of my people, quote unquote, black people, to come together, to bear each other's burdens, to come together in unity. And then in curiosity, I asked, do you think it's really, do you think it was really for us to come together? He says, yeah, definitely, especially when it came to my family and loved ones. So by this incident and his unaliving, it really brought us as a community together, and especially he felt like his loved ones and his family. And then I wanted to ask a question, in what way, did that bring, people together, He's telling me right now it was for the empowerment of the community, the empowerment of the black community, correct? Yeah, to come together and to realize and to start, loving each other. But in saying that, do you think that was like a sacrifice? You sacrificed for, the black community, for us to come together, for us to, to realize that we need to be in unity, we need to love each other. Do you felt like on one scale, you were the sacrifice to be able to do that? He says on one scale, yeah. That is a really big, that is really a big, what I want to say, a big thing to like, a big responsibility. That's what I want to say. That is a really big responsibility on your behalf. So I know that before coming here in this simulation, in this matrix, we all have like contracts, right? So do you know now, was that part of your contract to come into this simulation, this reality, and ultimately at a very young age, 33, to be somewhat of a sacrifice? Because I feel like you were sacrificed anyway, you know what I'm saying, by other people in the industry, and that's how I feel. And I think you answered that in the channeling too, so we'll definitely get to that. But it was definitely a big burden to bear. Like, did you know that coming into this assimilation at one point? Or, because like I said, I know that we all come here and we have a contract and stuff, and we come here for a reason, and we know that. But all of a sudden, when we come in here, our memories are taken, put in somewhere where we just forget, right? Okay, that's very commendable of you. So one significant song, y'all, that had came up in the channeling that we did like 2 to 3 weeks ago was the song Double Up. And that was very significant, and he wanted us to listen to that. And I listened to it like a couple of times, and I still don't remember everything. But something that came up for me is that is when he was with Lauren. And he said he brought that up, first and foremost, double up, because he has vivid memories of her when that song came out. So you were with her, right, when the double up came out? Okay, I think so. I'll just have to clarify that a little bit later. All right, so I had so many questions that I had asked. Oh my God. So I asked him, I kind of asked him why he chose me, at this time to come forth to me to deliver this message or whatever. And we had some side talk. I won't really share it on here for right now, but we had some side talk or whatever. But I don't know, was he a Leo? Was Nipsey a Leo? Because I definitely have Leo in my chart. So something in regards to that. But I had asked him, what are you doing in the spirit realm right now to help people? And something that came up in the song, I think one verse was very significant, my life in diamonds. So I highlighted that for some reason. And so I was like, did you know you were going to pass? And he says, yes. And I said, how long? So he knew he was going to pass for at least a year or two. Between that time, he had known in his gut and his soul that he was going to pass. But he was talking about how there was already plotting for 5 years, I think this is what it is, when around the time when Lauren came into his life. Isn't that something? These people, they do plot and scheme and scan years ahead. It'd be 2010, 5 years or so that these people be plotting, you know, especially the people in the industry, because we already know how devilish and evil the music, specifically the music industry is, right? So these people were already plotting and planning for 5 years, you know, and that was around when Lauren came into his life. And then, of course, I had to ask the question, does she has anything to do with his unaliving? Oh my God, this is where it's going to get real deep. That's why got so nervous, you know, just to come on to that. I didn't know I was going to be so nervous, you know, but after I read my questions and answers, I was like, what? This gets really, really deep. So some of y'all may or may not have heard, you know, these things that we're about to say, but does she has anything to do with it? He says, yes, she came in as an informant. Okay, so that's some tea right there. So if you didn't know, after a while, I kind of knew, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked him this question or whatever. But yeah, she came in around that time. And I don't even know how long they were together, but let me know in the comments box. I have to do a little bit more research. And she came in as an informant. And I thought he was going to say handler, but maybe that is almost like the same thing, because, you know, people in the Hollywood, no matter what, they all have handlers, you know, and most of the time it's their wives or their husbands or business partners that are their handlers, managers and things as such, people that are really close to them that are their handlers. So I don't know if you guys knew that. If you did, let me know. If you don't, let me know in the comments box. I felt like she fell in love with you. That's what I said. Yeah, she did, but she wasn't supposed to. and then he referred to the guy that I was with. Like, I had an informant that came into my life, and he wasn't supposed to fall in love with me too. So he kind of like referred that to the answer that he gave me. So yeah, she came in as an informant, and she fell in love, but she wasn't supposed to fall in love. After a while, he said she tried to back out at the end because she felt she wasn't going to be able to fix or reconcile it. But she had no choice because she was on payroll anyway. Of course, if she's coming in as an informant, of course she was, you know, on the payroll, right? I guess she felt like she just gone too far, and she definitely did, because she was in it and from the beginning, you know, infiltrating his life, you know, wearing a mask, coming in as an agent, an informant, his handler. Wow. And then I was like, so who set you up? I don't know how we came to that point, but I asked who set you up. And then all of a sudden, he brought me to the song Her, called Damage. I know that you, most of us, we should know the artist Her, but he brought me to the artist Her, to her song Damaged. And I'm just reading here. But I guess he brought me to that song because it actually damaged her. If you saw or heard any of her interviews, she talking about Nipsey Hustle, and she still do to this day, you could see how hurt or damaged she was. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you did that to yourself because you're the one that opted in to betray him, to set him up, to be an informant, to be his handler, you know, so you know what it is, you know what I'm saying? She took him for granted. That's what it says here. Don't let me fall. So then he takes me to some homies from the hood. And then he gave me some names, and I was like, yeah, these were funny names, but he's telling me, yeah, they are funny. So Pepper, Kingsley, Juke, June Boy, Jukebox, something like that. These are homies from the hood. So we perhaps never have heard these names before, you know what I'm saying, and especially in his fame. But I guess these are the people that he grew up with in his hood in South Los Angeles. But he mentioned something in regards to, that's why I love her, because she was left with no choices. Okay. But that still don't make no sense, Nipsey. Like, you loved her because she didn't have no choice and she did what she did. But it's almost like you were so, like, still loving towards her and forgiving towards her. Is that the reason? Because you felt like she fell in love with you, she didn't really want to go forward anymore, and therefore she didn't have no choice. But regardless, if she didn't, I still feel like you just have so much forgiveness, you know, because she has a lot of regret and remorse. I could see that, especially in her her interviews. I could definitely see that, hear her talk in regards to that. Like, I could feel the energy when she talks, you know. She's not going to outright tell us that she has regret and remorse, but she does say certain things. So I've written down, people that knew you, it's always the people that you know that set you up in this industry. That's what he was saying. Because I think I asked people that knew you, and he was like, yeah, it's always the people that you know that set you up in this industry. They do sign contracts year in advance on you. Wow. And Puff did that too on my soul. Oh my God, it was Puff. That's what he said. I'm reading it right now. See, this conversation seems so new to me. And probably because I'm just channeling it all. And Puff did too, that too on my soul. People think he's money hungry, but no, he's soul hungry, okay? Wow. Wow, okay? Let me say that again. He said that people think that Puff is P. Diddy, however you want to call him, is money hungry, but he's not. He's soul hungry. Because what's money? Money is just what? Fake paper, green fake paper, debt paper. Anyway. Right? That's very interesting. Wow, that was deep. And I was like, okay, so hungry, what does that do for him? And Nipsey said it gives him more power and makes him more stronger and have more strength. More demons on his side working for him. Wow. I never heard of that one before. Let me know what you think about that one. It gives him more power, more strength. He gets more stronger and have more demons on his side working for him. Not with him. They say working. He said working for him. What in the world is going on here? And then I ask, oh my God, the last question that I channeled here, I had stopped at number 4 questions or whatever, I don't know. I was like, did they know who you were spiritually? Or did he? He said it didn't matter. He just wanted to add to his roster. He just wanted to add to his list. Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised, right? And I'm not shocked. And for those who, you know, right? You know, how devilish and evil the Hollywood is and the industry is and stuff. And I'm not surprised in regards to what he said. But when I came back to reading all the things that I channeled, I was like, dang, that's deep. Okay, so that is all that I channeled from him a few weeks ago. This is part one. We will have part two, but I probably would end off asking him if he wanted to add to this, because I really don't have no questions at this moment in time. Probably later in private, I'll probably ask some questions and write it down again. But to end off part one of the Nipsey Hustle untold story or messages here. I don't know what I'm going to title it, but you already know for the ones who are on the replay. Let us know some last messages for today. And just so you got some spiritual messages and stuff. He wants everyone at this time to ground yourself and to learn to love yourself unconditionally, because you are the God and goddesses that you seek. And protect your energy, because your energy is powerful, especially if you're a melanin, for sure. And a lot of y'all are not from here, so stop acting like you're from here. You know, you definitely are more than you know. And 25 and 7 is very significant. Some of y'all need to write down like the affirmations, positive affirmations in regards to what he said, in regards to loving yourself. So you can write affirmations. I love myself. I'm brave, I'm beautiful, I choose love, I'm worthy, I'm grateful, I'm healthy, I'm happy. And you could do that while meditating or doing movement. But also to clear your energy as well. You could use that by sage. Take back your energy, take back your power. Connect with nature, walk in nature. You know, a lot of spiritual type of messages he wants to leave with you are on today. And what else, Nipsey Hustle? Anything else? Yep, I said love yourself unconditionally. I think I told him that. And always, you know, again, clear out your energy from, you know, the low vibrational energies that we are always bombarded with, you know. A lot of you all don't know, like Nipsey Hustle is very spiritual, and a lot of people didn't see him as such, but he was definitely very connected and very spiritual and very tuned in and tapped in and very guided. And I think they were threatened by that, right? He said, yeah, they were absolutely threatened by that. From the truth coming out. Like, what type of truth? See, that's why we have to get into part two, because it's going to even get deeper and deeper about what the energy is really all about. Like, a lot of people are coming to light to that, though. Yeah, so I definitely agree. So he wants to leave it at that at this moment in time. This is part one. Stay tuned for part two. If you haven't followed, definitely do so right now, or subscribe, I want to say. If anybody ever want a personal mini reading, you could go to my profile and or the description below and click on my Etsy link, and you can definitely book your private reading with me there, okay? So I appreciate y'all so much for the people that came on live, spending time with me on today. Definitely, again, stay tuned to part two, and I want to send you all love and light, okay? I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.